without you, my friend. And I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. We've come a long way from where we began. Oh, I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. When I see you again.
Damn, who knew? All the planes we flew, good things we've been through. That I'll be standing right here talking to you about another path. I know we love to hit the road and laugh, but something told me that it wouldn't last. Had to switch up, look at things different, see the bigger picture. Those were the days, hard work forever pays. Now I see you in a better place. How can we not talk about family when family's all that we got? Everything I went through, you were standing there by my side. And now you gon' be with me for the last ride.
It's been a long day without you, my friend. And I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. We've come a long way from where we began. Oh, I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. When I see you again.
First you both go out your way and the vibe is feeling stronger. What's small turn to a friendship turn to a bond, and that bond will never be broken. The love will never get lost. And when brotherhood come first, then the line will never be crossed. Established it on our own when that line had to be drawn, and that line is what we reach. So remember me when I'm gone. How can we not talk about family when family's all that we got? Everything I went through, you were standing there by my side. And now you gon' be with me for the last ride.
Let the light guide your way. Yeah. Hold every memory as you go, and every road you take will always lead you home. Oh, it's been a long day without you, my friend. And I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. We've come a long way from where we began. Oh, I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. When I see you again.
Good afternoon, everyone. We gather together today to remember and honour the life of Mark Richard Pearson and to mark his passing from this world. My name is Julie Wallace and I'm a civil celebrant, and it is my privilege to welcome you on behalf of May and her family and Mark's families in Japan and Hong Kong. We thank those who have been so supportive of Mark, especially during his battle with cancer, especially his loyal friends and his brothers Stu, Declan and Patrick, and the players and members of the Sligo Rugby Club in Ireland. We welcome those who are here in person, as well as those who are joining us from all over the world via the live streaming of the service. Here in Brisbane, Mark was a long way from home, both his physical home in Christchurch, as well as his spiritual home in Japan. But it's wonderful that so many of those who are dear to him have made the journey to be here, to be a part of his farewell. I'd like to thank May for speaking to me about her husband and for offering me a glimpse of his life. She described him first and foremost as a family man. He was so proud of his sons, Liam, Richard and Ken, and he was delighted to be a grandfather to Richard's 3 children. Their father would be touched that Liam and Ken are present today with their mother, Megumi, and he would understand that Richard's family commitments prevent him from being here. I know that it was a great comfort to May to know that Ken was here in Brisbane when his father passed away so unexpectedly. Mark was proud too of his only daughter, Kay, who's doing so well in her high school in Hong Kong. And then to be a father again later in life has given Mark the opportunity to be a special part of the lives of Rex and Ian. Though it's been a relationship that's been interrupted by the separation of COVID times and later by Mark's travel to seek treatment for his illness, he loved them very much, and he was driven to find a cure which would allow him to remain a part of their young lives. Indeed, to continue to be a part of the lives of all of his loved ones. Sadly, this was not to be. Mark Richard Pearson was born in Christchurch, New Zealand on July 9th, 1971. He was the second-born child of Kristen and Kenneth Pearson, whose family would eventually grow to include Mark's 7 brothers and 1 sister. During his childhood, the family moved around a bit, and they also spent time in Dunedin, Marlborough and Timaru. Like so many Kiwis, Mark had a passion for rugby, and eventually it was his talent for the game which took him to Japan as a young player. He fell in love with the country and the people. Eventually he returned to New Zealand, but he realised that that's not where he wanted to be. And so it was back to Japan. Japan came to feel like his true home, and that bond was strengthened by the family that he and Megumi created together. He was just 22 when Liam was born, and then Richard and Ken followed at 2-year intervals. Although he and Megumi eventually went their separate ways, Mark never lost the connection to Japan and his family there. Over the years, Mark's interests and work took him all over the world, but he was particularly drawn to Hong Kong and China and other parts of Asia. Along the way, he made a lot of friends in Japan, China, the United States, and around Southeast Asia. Wherever he went, Mark was interested in everything: the scenery, the people, their daily lives, the buildings and the cars, the boats, the public transport, even the insects and animals that inhabited the cities and countryside. He was a keen photographer, and his photos and videos record everything he encountered, and often his reactions as well. Mark's marriage to Melinda in Hong Kong resulted in the birth in 2008 of his only daughter, Kay. He was even able to pursue his love of rugby there as a coach of school children. It was in Shenzhen in China in 2014 that he met May, and they began their life together. Rex was born in 2017, and Ian, named after Mark's good friend Ian Waugh, was born 2 years later. Mark continued to make regular visits to Japan. Even though residency was unlikely, it was Mark's dream to live in Japan. In the meantime, he thought he'd like to own a home there, which he could use as a base during his visits. He was intrigued by the idea of purchasing one of the many abandoned properties in the countryside and renovating it in his spare time. Mark finally found a suitable property in 2018 and commenced the complicated process of purchasing it. He used his YouTube channel to show videos documenting the process. Listening to Mark speak, it was clear that he loved the 2 overgrown and dilapidated houses and the land that surrounded them. He was able to see the beauty underneath all the rubbish. Mark appreciated the craftsmanship of the original builders and the materials that they had used. And he had a vision for how the houses would look when they were finished. It was obvious too that he really enjoyed sharing the project with his sons. The going was slow because they were doing all the work themselves in whatever short blocks of time they had available. But they'd made quite a bit of progress when everything ground to a halt with the arrival of COVID in 2020. These years were hard for Mark. International travel was disrupted. May and the children were in China and subject to that country's strict lockdown. Mark remained in Thailand, and they stayed in touch the best they could. Rex and Ian thought that their daddy lived in the phone because their only contact with him was through their regular video calls. It was during this long separation in late August of 2022 that Mark received bad news. He was diagnosed with cancer. May used this information to push for special permission to leave China and rejoin Mark in Thailand. It was granted and the family were reunited in mid-October 2022. After spending a bit over 12 months in Thailand, the family returned to New Zealand just before Christmas of 2023. In the year that followed, Mark followed up on every possible option for treatment. Disappointed by what was available in New Zealand, in 2024 Mark made several trips to Japan. And while he responded well to the initial treatments there, his final treatment in October last year sadly offered no relief. But Mark was not prepared to give up. Hearing of a drug trial here in Brisbane, he was determined to give it a go. He had Christmas in Christchurch and then, full of hope, he headed to Brisbane, where he stayed in an Airbnb near the hospital. A bonus was that he was joined by his son Ken, but neither of them could have anticipated how quickly Mark's condition would spiral. Even so, he remained positive. He was still dreaming of making Japan their home, and on the day before he passed away, he was reminding May to contact the Japanese embassy to follow up on their paperwork. The end came so quickly. May did not have time to get there. But she was comforted by the knowledge that Mark was not alone. He had his son by his side, and he knew that he was loved. Mark was just 53 years of age, but he'd packed a lot of living into those 53 years. A life very well lived and well loved. It's very difficult to put into words all that is in our hearts on a day like today. May has taken some time to reflect on her husband and his life, and she's put some words down for us, and I'm very honoured to read them on her behalf. May writes, "Mark was more than just my partner. He was my rock, my confidant, and the light of my life. Mark was a man who lived with love, courage, and positivity. He had a way of bringing joy to every moment, especially when he was with his boys. He adored his kids with all his heart. Whether he was joking with them, playing games, or teaching them life lessons, he made every interaction special. He wasn't just a father, he was their hero, their guide, and their best friend. Mark had a brave soul, facing life's challenges with unwavering strength and optimism. No matter how tough things got, Mark always found a way to look on the bright side and to lift up those around him. And let's not forget his love of rugby. his favourite sport, his passion. Whether he was watching a game, cheering for his team, or just talking about it, his enthusiasm was contagious. Rugby wasn't just a sport to him. It was a reflection of the values he held dear: teamwork, resilience and strength. Mark touched so many lives with his kindness, his humour and his unshakable positivity. He taught us all what it means to truly love and to live life to the fullest. Though our hearts are heavy today, we will honour his legacy by carrying forward the lessons he taught us, by cherishing the memories he left us, and by striving to live with the same courage and joy that he did. Rest easy, my love. You will forever be in our hearts. Mark also had a gift for friendship, and he had many very, very good friends around the world. One of those friends is Ian Wall. Ian is overseas at the moment and unable to be here with us, but he's been in touch and he's passed on his words about his good friend. He's asked me to read them on his behalf. Ian writes, "Mark is a good friend of mine. He's someone who speaks his mind. Mark's children were the constant focus of his life. Kay, Richard, Ken, Liam, Rex and Ian. He loved to talk about them all. Mark and I shared many adventures. We went scuba diving in Sulawesi, travelled by canoe in Borneo, enjoyed street food in India and hiked in Vietnam. We had more planned. The Amazon, travelling through Uganda and going to Mongolia. One of Mark's qualities was his unwavering optimism. He never complained, even during his darkest days. He pressed forward with determination and strength. He was a coach, a teacher, a thinker, and he loved his family very much. Mark touched the lives of people around the world, and his absence will be deeply felt by all who knew him. Mark will be deeply missed." We come together today in the spirit of love and remembrance to give thanks for the gift of Mark's life. We give thanks for his love and devotion to his family and for the special place he had in his heart for his children and grandchildren. Mark was so proud of them all, of the good men his oldest sons had become and the lives they were making for themselves. as well as the wonderful futures that lie ahead for Kay, for his little boys and for his grandchildren. Mark leaves behind for them his unconditional love and the example of a life lived to the full. He's inspired them with his optimism and enthusiasm, his curiosity and joyful engagement with the world. He's encouraged them to pursue their passions and follow their dreams. We see in the house that Mark was rebuilding in Japan the lived expression of his dream for a place where he could bring his family together in the country which was his spiritual home. And while time was not his friend, the strength of his love and the beauty of that dream will endure. We give thanks for the years that Mark and May have shared, for the love which united them, and for the life and the family they created together. They have shared their joys and they have supported each other through hard times and separation. We give thanks too for Mark's gift for friendship and for those who've been his companions along the way. Mark was a loyal and true mate, and his friends were there to reach out a helping hand when his own strength let him down. As news of Mark's passing spreads to his friends around the world, there will be many who will mourn the loss of this good man. Would everyone please be upstanding as we prepare to say our final farewell? Would you stand, please? Gathered here in this peaceful place, where so many have stood before to honour their loved ones and to say a last goodbye, we're reminded of the seasons of our own lives and of the cycle of life of which we are all a part. I think if Mark were here today and could look around at the people that he loved, he'd be very proud of you all, of your love and support of each other, and of the legacy that he leaves behind. Today we say farewell to Mark's physical presence and commend his mortal remains to the elements from which all life comes and to which, in the end, all life returns, earth to earth, ashes to ashes, and dust to dust. But we do so confident that he dwells now and forever in a safe place in your hearts where no storm or night or pain can reach him. When I was thinking of how best to draw together all that's been said about Mark today and to respond to the very deep emotions that are a part of saying goodbye to someone we love, I was reminded of a quote from a writer, Steve Maribaldi, who wrote, "I'm always saddened by the death of a good person, but it is from this sadness that a feeling of gratitude emerges. I feel honoured to have known them and blessed that their passing serves as a reminder to me that my own time on this beautiful earth is limited and that I should seize the opportunity I have to forgive, to share, to explore and to love. I can think of no greater way to honour the deceased than to live in this way." And I think Mark would want that for you too. He made the world a better and happier place. And the best way of honouring his life is by taking some of the light and love and passion that he shared with you and sharing it with others. Let this be Mark's legacy and his gift to you all today.